So this is the first example. Here we have a trinomial, a polynomial with 3 terms. To be able to factor this, we will split the middle term into 2 terms. And we need 2 numbers for this. So those 2 numbers are the factors of the number 24, which is obtained by multiplying 8 and 3, the first and the last coefficients. So we find the grouping number 8 times 3, which is equal to 24. And we need 2 numbers that are factors of 24, whose sum will be equal to the middle term. So they will add up to negative 11, the middle coefficient. Okay, so be careful. Realize that the middle coefficient is negative. So the factors, the 2 factors of 24, they should add up to a negative number. Okay? So since the product is positive, so they are factors of 24, the product is positive, but their sum should be negative. Therefore, both of these numbers should be negative. So we will look for 2 factors of negative 4, 2 negative factors of 24, whose sum will be negative 11. So start with the smallest number, which is negative 1. And if we divide 24 by negative 1, we get negative 24. So these are 2 negative factors, whose sum is negative 25, which doesn't satisfy, which is not equal to negative 11. So continue with the next large factor, which is negative 2. Divide 24 by negative 2, we find negative 12. When we add these 2 factors, we find negative 14, which is not equal to negative 11. And let's check the next big factor, which is negative 3. Divide 24 by negative 3, we find negative 8. When we add them, yes, we do find negative 11, which is the middle coefficient. So we can stop here. Now, take your polynomial and rewrite it by splitting the middle term into 2 terms as a sum of 2 terms using the pair of numbers we have found, negative 3 and negative 8. And now we will use the grouping method to factor this polynomial. So group the first 2 and the last 2 terms in this polynomial. So we group the first 2 by taking them into a parenthesis, and we group the last 2. But be careful here. In fact, there is a typo. So when we put a parenthesis around these, we have to make this plus. We have to change this to a negative, because when we multiply back, this should turn to be a positive. So here it's going to be a negative. When we factor out this negative, this positive will change to a negative. So in the first parenthesis, we can factor out the 8x, which is the greatest common factor, and we will have x minus 1 inside the parenthesis. And when we factor out the 3 in this binomial, we will get x minus 1 inside the parenthesis. So we see that x minus 1 is common in both. So this is the common factor, common binomial factor. So we factor x minus 1, factor out x minus 1, so we are left with 8x minus 3. So this is the factored form of this polynomial. So you can just double check. If you multiply back, you will end up with the original polynomial.